So welcome everybody. I'm Amanda and I'm hosting today for Colin. We're joined by Andy Lee, who's going to run us through some really interesting information on ODR and artificial intelligence, which is really exciting for me. It's an area I am a huge fan of. Andy Lee is a professor at the Beijing eBridge China Research Institute, visiting professor at Tsinghua University. Did I say it even close to correctly?
Yes, Tsinghua University,
Tsinghua.
yes.
An adjunct professor at the East West Center in Honolulu, Hawaii. Before this, he was a professor at the University of International Business and Economy in Beijing, China. Since 2010, Professor Lee served as the chief scientist of the university's e-commerce research institute and headed the university's Shenzhen Research Institute, which is a think tank founded jointly by the university and Shenzhen government. Prior to the university position, he was the director of e-commerce technology research center at China Academy of Sciences for 10 years. And before this, he worked in Silicon Valley as an engineer and research scientist in various roles. Founded the Internet Image Incorporated in 1996 with Infraware, which is a NASDAQ-listed company. Professor Lee was educated in Shanghai Jiao Tong University, the University of Arizona, and finished his PhD studies at Stanford, PhD Corporate Fellowship. So I'm really excited for him to be here with us today. So welcome, Andy, and everybody else who's joining us.
Thank you very much, Amanda. I appreciate I have this opportunity to talk about the AI and the blockchain in the online dispute resolution. So we just go ahead with the presentation, or what's the format of this session?
The format's a little bit up to us, so I can share the slides. And that'll just take me a moment, and then we can go through them. Okay. So there we go.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Okay, great. All right, so Amanda, should I just like go in through this PPT first, then we can have some discussion after that?
That sounds great, and just let me know and I'll page them ahead for you when you're ready.
Okay, so I cannot like turn a page, can I?
No, that's up to me. You can tell me to click.
Okay, all right, okay. So thank you very much for everyone to be in this session. And basically, I have been working on how to use artificial intelligence technology in the online dispute resolution. But in the recent year, because of the we start to realize the enforcement of the resolution become very important. So we start to introduce the blockchain technology to make sure that everything is recorded and everything is secured. All the communication and the resolution are secured, so that we can move on in the future to make sure the resolution are enforced and basically binding to the both sides. So that's why, like, I have been doing this presentation for past like 5-6 years, and until last year it was AI-driven online dispute resolution. So this year I put the blockchain. Actually, from early this year, I started to put the blockchain in the presentation. So next page, please. And here I show some of the very exciting AI development. And this is the in the April when I was at in one of the conference in Indonesia, and they brought this very famous AI human AI. Her name is Sophie, and she is the first ever robot that was granted a citizenship from Saudi Arabia, and she answers every question. And almost covers every field. Like I ask her about legal question, about the dispute resolution. She answers very well. And also amazingly is that the way she's thinking is very logic and also very close to the way how human reason the question. So this is amazing, and I start to feel, and she probably will be a better mediator, or even a better lawyer than the most of the people I know. So next page, please. And what Sophie really can do is she can, she's learning 24 hours a day and 365 days a year. And she just, even she's answering questions, she's still learning. She's still going through all, whatever she can grab in the database and put it organized in this huge brain that is basically database. So she can really learning a huge amount of information and all the data, all the court records and all the settlement, every law of every country. So that's make her very knowledgeable. And you can, the best thing she can answer is a specific question about a law, or a specific question about a settlement or a judgment. And she can really tell you the whole sentence, the whole paragraph, or the list of all the items. So it's amazing. And because of that, she can, if you want to really compete with her with memory, there's human will definitely lose. So then we move to next thing, that is, the reasoning, the logical thinking. And that was the human's advantage. But because this technology called deep learning, and that means she actually, hello? Yeah, okay?
I'm just getting a little blip saying that the internet connection is unstable.
Stable from my side?
So it's one of ours. We'll continue.
Okay, is it better?
Oh, the message that says it's unstable has disappeared, so it probably is.
Oh, okay. Okay. So anyway, she because it was this new AI technology called deep learning, that means she jumped into this huge database, and with laws, with judgment, with settlement, with court record, anything she can get, and she start to learn what's the reason, what's the logic behind all those settlement, and that start to build her, we call the nerve, her nerve network. So she started to behave like a human. She can reason. She can ask you a question. She can start to guide you to some direction to settle the dispute. So that's amazing, and that make her very close to the human now. And also another thing is that she can instantly read how this solution will cost both parties. That's amazing. She can calculate with a lot of factors. Not like if we try to if we are doing the mediation for both parties, we can think what's the cost given a resolution, what's the cost to both parties. But the factor we can consider are really limited. But for her, she can consider everything. So that's amazing, and that makes she, I think, a much powerful mediator and a much powerful lawyer and a very fair judge. So that's what she can do. Next page, please. And so that's what that kind of make me feel the oh it's okay. Oh, okay. And that me feel that's kind of demonstrate the dispute resolution will have a huge opportunity, or I would say a big revolution because of this internet technology, because of the mobile technology, because most importantly, because of the artificial intelligence. So there is no reason you don't get machine to help you, and needs to help both parties understand where they are and what kind of situation, from a legal point of view, from a society point of view, they are at, and what is the solution that could be helpful and theoretically maximize their satisfaction. So those are the things machine can do, and so I start to feel the online dispute resolution has to be tied up with artificial intelligence. Otherwise, you don't really have to do. I mean, I just don't see any other option. You already put everything online. Everything is digitalized, and why you don't bring some machine to at least make both parties has equal amount of information, has power with them, with the same capability of rational logic thinking, and in that way, the both parties are. I mean, like one of the reasons we use lawyer is to just try to make us more powerful in the negotiation or in the argument. So now the machine can do that. The machine can bring both parties to the same level of knowledge in terms of the law, in terms of the culture, in terms of any other factors. So I think the online dispute resolution, the distinguish between online dispute resolution or traditional like mediation or traditional alternative dispute resolution will be at whether the artificial intelligence is used in the mediation or not. So that's my conclusion. So in the future, when we see, because now there is very confused with the ODR and the ADR, because people at court, they use they use online, all the online tools. So their whole court session could be online, and then they start to say that's ODR. But I think that's not. ODR has to be somehow machine mediated, has to be somehow machine empowered. So next page, please. And so today I'm going to start to introduce what our work in the artificial intelligence driving ODR. And we're going to talk about very briefly talk about the goal and our milestone, and also how we use AI in the ODR process. Then we start to talk about some relevant system we have to build. And then we start to see how we're going to introduce blockchain to help the enforcement of the resolution. So next page. And basically, we use the consumer cross-border consumer dispute as our first target field, because we got a lot of data from Alibaba, from all those like JD, and so we have data. We have many of those. We have like a huge amount of dispute cases that we can use to train our computer. And most of those disputes we currently addressing are what happened in the retail, cross-border retail. Like there are some fake merchant, they just get money from people, and that's really fraud. That's not dispute. But we saw a lot of that in our cases, so we can identify that. That's not dispute. That's a fraud. And then there are some disputes over logistic arrangement, dispute over the inconsistent of the merchant they purchased, and it's disputes with all the after sales support. So there are many of those kind of things. That is our first targeted field. And then at the same time, we from this year we start to target another field, which is also very, very exciting. That is the trademark dispute, because the reason why we put that into our research is that the cross-border trademark disputes become one of the major problem for a lot of small and medium business go to the foreign market. So they sometimes they came to China or came to like some other countries their trademark start to be copied, to be pirates. So they start to lose their market share. So that's become a problem. So that is something we are asked by the Trademark Association to help them figure out how to do that. And so next page, please. Then the whole process of the how do we settle the resolution and the dispute resolution is that, first of all, we submit a dispute through all the digital means, email, text message, voice, and we build a system that again, it's an artificial intelligence system, can correctly get in the very reasonable text from the voice report of a dispute. And the processing of email text has been really very mature. So now the way we can accept the accept the submission of the dispute can be really comprehensive and also very efficient, and no human involved. And we checked our voice recognition submission things, because we use artificial intelligence to correct some of the misinterpretation of the voice. So the final results, we almost get almost 100% correct. I mean, when I say 100% correct, it means 100% can be 100% recognized by computer, because there are some minor minor mistake of a single word that can be, when the computer try to understand what's the dispute, they can ignore that word, so they can really grab what is the problem. Because after the submission of the dispute, we have a standard form that is we call dispute form. This form almost we got 100% right when we compare with what the disputes submit. So this is a very amazing. I mean, this now this is already online in the China consumer dispute network. So people can all over the world can type in their dispute, and our system can correctly make a form of dispute that's submitted for the back end to process. So once that is done, and we got an instant AI consolidation. That means the AI module will take a look at this dispute form and then give you within seconds, not even a second, give you a best resolution. This best resolution is based on our module has been learning almost 1.3 billion cases of dispute and settlement. And our machine go in there and look and read, understand, and build this perfect consolidation database. So when you have a dispute, we go to this whole thing, and they will immediately give you, based on the past experience, what is the best resolution could be. So this is more like we just give you some idea to both parties. And we tell you, I mean, this is 99% in this particular category. This is how people settle. So once this is done, people, both parties can see whether they want to take this resolution or not. If they don't, then we start to distribute their cases to. We have trained 6 mediators. Again, the mediator, it's very important, is that we start to realize AI, you cannot build one AI mediator to handle every cases, because people have characters. Some people, they prefer to be more aggressive. Some people are less aggressive. Some are more legal minded. Some are more social minded. So because of that, we start to realize the mediator, even the computer mediator, they can have their characters. So that's why we just modeled after some of the very good mediator we found in China. And we asked them to put their like a character into our system. So build distinguished like a different AI mediators. So now we have 6 AI mediator, and when the case come in, they refuse our first proposal by the AI module. Then we start to see what kind of, the computer also start to analyze why they refuse and what kind of dispute this is. Then based on that, and also we use a random scheme to assign this case to one of the mediator. And also the this disputed party can make their own choice. They said, oh, I like to, both parties say we like to use the mediator that's more legal mind, or we want to use a mediator more passion. So we call case distribution. So that means we assign different AI modules to help settle the dispute. So what those AI module does is that they get into this multilingual chat room. That means they use different languages. You can use here we not only for text, also for voice. In China, by the way, for the cross border now we can only support text, and you can text in Russian, you can text in Hindu, or you can text in French, and the people text different message, but they all show the right language in front of the people. So, for example, the mediator is a Chinese, then they were from the Chinese mediator side. All the screens she can see, everything on her window are in Chinese, and one of the party is a Russian. That every message she received is in Russian. So that's a multilingual chat room. And over there, the mediator is actually a computer, and start to facilitate the mediation. So they start to tell people what's the rights, and what is the situation, and what do you lose, what do you gain. So this start to facilitate based on his training on all those billions of cases. And after that, hopefully we get some resolution. And if we don't, then this process stopped. And we have a module that's to tell them what's the option. Like they can go through the legal option. They can go through the for the cross border. They can go to the arbitration. So there are options. But if the resolution is reached, then we have an online notary service. That means we directly connect to a online notary firm and start to notarize the resolution. From here now, we start to use blockchain to keep all those records in our system, so that if in the future something happens, we can always go back to the record. Nobody can change that records. So then we start to next stage is our system will monitor how the resolution is enforced. And here we introduce this smart contract and from blockchain. And if both parties agreed, so this smart contract were tied up with their bank account, with whatever their stuff. So when the solution reached, and everything will automatically done. So this whole thing will be closed. So this is our currently our process. So next page, please. And the next page. And so here is how the AI driving ODR in this whole process. And first of all, we start to ask this question: whether our AI module replaces the lawyer in these cases. I think yes, because now you don't have to go to lawyer to ask whether this case can be handled by ODR or can be handled by what. our system, we have this when you submit the dispute, we give you a very good review of your case, which basically point out to both parties whether there is not any law be broken or any other legal consequence, and we tell you everything. And that is usually what I mean. It's better than lawyer because we go through every country's law, and we have all those cultural religions information in there, so we can tell you pretty good, like a lawyer tell you, and what's your risk and what's your legal consequence. So I think in our cases, in this particular situation, we deal with the cross-border retail and also the cross-border trademark dispute, and there is no, I don't see a room for lawyer. And the mediation, how we see the mediation of our mediation different from the human mediator. And the one thing we found that our AI mediator is very rational, very fair, and no motion. And the way they treat each party, even for the timing, for the wording, everything are like equal, and they don't show any motion. I think they are machine. So and also they can be because they have this prediction. They have some prediction function in there. So sometimes they can predict. They can foresee what's going to happen with the both party, so that when the parties start to show some of the opinion, they already have some answers. So the experience, the user experience are really beyond our expectation. So I think from mediator point of view, the work they are doing is very well. The only difference is that sometimes the both parties are looking for some passion, looking for some some sort of connection between them and the mediator, and our AI mediator cannot demonstrate that. Sometimes they start to say, "Oh, you are," during the process, they ask you some other questions like, "Oh, how you are doing today, and do you have a daughter?" Start to talk about some really things irrelevant with the cases, and our mediator were not really going to that direction. Where they were say, "Oh, let's come back to these cases." So that is a non-human behavior. And so why, after our experience, we start to answer this question: why we introduce AI in this whole thing? I think the most important thing is very effective and very efficient. And before we use the human as a mediator to just remotely log into the online chat room, and we did that. We found that the average time to settle a dispute is about I think it's 3 or 5 hours, and the cost is about 500 RMB Chinese yuan. But now it's like 45 minutes at most, and the average, and the cost is about really low cost. It's cost about it's only depreciation for the system. So so it's very, I think, and also it can handle the same one mediator. They can do unlimited dispute resolution, like a mediation, at the same time. It's not like a human. You can only do one at a time. This AI mediator, even though we call by name, like one is called Courage, one is called the lawyer, one is called the grandmaster. So they do have their characters, but they can, every single one of them, they can handle unlimited cases at the same time. So it's really good for the dispute out of online, out of cross-border e-commerce, which the transaction is also at the scale of millions a day. So I think this is what we learned from our Okay, so hello, hello.
Yep,
Can you hear me? Can you
I
hear
can.
me? Okay,
I
can you?
yep, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Can you turn next page? Why it says my video is closed?
I don't know. I'm seeing your video. Let's see. I'll pull the chat up and just see.
I don't see it right now.
Yeah, I've just X'd out of it for one moment. I'll pull back and then somebody can let me know if they're seeing it.
Okay.
So I'm on the applicable links page, Andy. Do you see this?
I can see it, but there isn't a live video feed.
Andy, are you still there with us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'll pull the slides back up again. So are we on slide 10 or slide 11? So right now it says applicable links. Or would you like to move to?
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is it. And
Okay.
so what we have been getting from this is that we can start to based on once this everything is online, including the mediator is online, and everything is digitalized, we start to get some additional benefit. That is dispute warning. What is dispute warning? That is, we start to be able to predict what transaction will cause dispute, and that's is something very we currently we try to commercialize that, sell to the cross-border e-commerce vendors based on all those knowledge we have and all those disputes we are setting, and we automatically can match every transaction to see whether this transaction has a big probability in dispute, so that the vendors, the cross-border e-commerce vendors can make a decision whether they want to proceed with this transaction. So that's something additional benefit we got. And also, we the choice of mediation procedure, because again, we said that we have different characters of artificial intelligence mediator. That means they use what the character has a couple of aspects. One is that how much weight they want to have their knowledge in particular field. For example, the legal mind mediator, they put, for example, they put maybe 60% of weight on law. So when they start to facilitate the dispute resolution, they try to compare with laws, and so that's how the characters be built. And another aspect of character is the procedure. How do you what do you do to guide or to help or to facilitate the dispute resolution? And we have like maybe 5,000 or 6,000 procedures that we learned from our records, and so there are some choices to build the characters of the artificial intelligence mediator, and also we consistently, the AI mediator consistently looking for the we call the best implementation. So they want to shorten the time. Basically, we want to short the time to reach the resolution. So the machine, even though they don't jump into the discussion or the dispute resolution dialogue between two parties, but they consistently predict what they are heading to. And we are heading to the wrong direction. That leads to a divergence of the dispute resolution. Then they start to put them back, and there are some scales to put them back. So this whole thing, when you use a computer to implement, make this process very manageable. So next page, please.
There we go.
Okay, and this one is we start to use AI to take the AI plus norm means we empower AI with all the legal knowledge so that they can better understand the legal consequence and also understand what is the probability if a dispute goes to the court. And in that way, we have a bottom line to tell both parties what happened if you want to be, you don't want to settle in this chat room, you want to settle in the court, and that is what happens. So in this whole thing, we have done we work with the China Supreme Court, and we get about 50 million court records and try to compare with our dispute cases and build a we call AI plus law capability. So next page, please. And so our AI system now currently consists of all those components. We have an expert system, we have a knowledge-based system, intelligent interface, case-based reasoning, and a multi-agent system, rule-based system, and the decision support system. So this tells you what are the major modules of our AI system that to support this AI-driven online dispute resolution. So next page, please. And there are more of the component level of the module we are building to support this big system. And particularly here, we introduce the blockchain technology to make sure the data are well managed and are secured, and all the privacy are observed. So next page, please. And so finally, if we summarize this whole thing, is basically we submission, we got the dispute, then we give some quick conciliation results like a proposal, and if okay, then we are happy. In fact, we found that almost 90% of our dispute are resolved right away. And once they submit, the AI give a instant resolution proposal, and then resolved. So 90% is already resolved there. So if they want to proceed, they don't like that, then we dispute this to the AI module with different characters, and the party can choose what they want. And then we start to go into this processing mode, that's chat and notary service and etc. Finally, we have a tool, different kind of tool to basically ensure the implementation of the resolution, and also to rate the mediator, the AI mediator, to rate the both party and their style or their. I mean, like we do a lot of statistics on every party, so we keep that in our record. So in the future, we can do some we don't know what to use right now, but we keep all those in our database. So next page, please. And this is very big, and it's more visual demonstration explaining of our system, and I think I pretty much already gone through those steps. So let's skip to next page. And the same thing again. It's our process. And I think this PPT can be distributed to whoever are interested, and they can see all those detailed things. They are just basically every steps. Okay, finally, we got this AI-enabled ODR, and we have all those aspects, and those are the now we start to take some of the module and work directly to not go through the whole ODR. Like for example, we have the AI and the judgment writing, and that's basically help the court to help whoever to write the judgment, and we have AI to going through the litigation material to give you some idea. This to support the lawyers. So we come up with many tools that can be individually used for lawyer, for court, for the mediator, for the this is for existing situation, and so those tools are currently are available for the for people to use. Next page, please. And so we talk about the page next is called the case distribution and the information service. And so in here we basically talk about our rationale behind how do we assign the mediator of the AI mediator to different cases. And basically we our system is first of all, we take the input from the dispute party. What kind of people they like, just like the way they get an agreement on what kind of mediator they like to have. But we don't give them. Now we won't have 6. We are building. We are training more mediators. So eventually we can give more options. But now we only have 6 mediator, and they can pick what they want. And also, once they pick the mediator, we consistently tell them that there are choices of procedures, and because every mediator has they can support different ways of settle the. For example, some people want to settle in voice communication. They don't want to do text. That's fine. And some people want to do in asynchronized communication. That's fine. So but you have to point it out. And so our AI system will know where to, which procedure they're going to pull in. And also, the AI module has many functions to control the both parties discussion or negotiation or like a communication by stop their communication, so making them only one-way talking, so they can only talk to the AI, because once they start to find their discussion become very heated, become people getting angry, and they can stop that communication so that the communication become the from a party to the AI module. They start to settle them down and tell them more about the background of the dispute and how other people resolve the dispute. So this whole thing is controlled. So next page, please. Then this whole the supervision and the administration of mediation platform. And again, this is a huge like modules. All those module basically tells you how we control this mediation process to every bit, every byte, every second. So that as I just explained, when we start to detect some the communication become diverge, not converge to the resolution, become diverge to the extent we start to we start to stop their direct communication. We need them to talk to the AI module, and from AI module we relay to the other party. So we slow them down and put the machine in the middle so they can start to cool down both parties and get them back. So those are the control module, and that's consistently knowledge, unlimited cases. And so this is how powerful machine is. So next page, please. And here is what we currently try to provide to the court system. So they look at our system. They feel, oh, we can use it in the lawsuit. So that's how we build one for them. And the lawsuit is basically a court hosted mediation process. And we also, in this case, the judge can override what the machine does. And the judge, currently we try to build a few mediator that is like judge-like. So they have more court procedure, they have more legal knowledge. And so we try to make sure judge-like those mediator. And so eventually we don't want the judge to be in this process. So now the judge is the one can overwrite our AI module. So again, this is a bunch of the system that showing that how we modify this to work for the court. Okay, so finally, now we get to the last session, that is a blockchain system for record and execution. And we just try to build a database that is really can be trusted by everybody, and using the blockchain technology. And so we make sure that everything recorded in our system cannot be overwrite, cannot be changed, and with the timestamp. And also, everything, if somebody wants to change it, that's fine. Then everybody will know he wants to change it. Now we can track back to the original one. So that's so this is how we build this system. Next page, please. And the next page is called the benefits of using blockchain. And here are the benefits. That basically is to make sure everything is well documented, well protected, and transparent to everyone, and time stamp. And so everything we want to do is to make sure people tend to be tend to honor their resolution. If they don't, they know everything they have been said, everything have been discussed are in the database. And if somehow we move this to the court, of course we are not going to give this to the court, but they do have, some people will feel, oh, I already promised, oh, I already agreed. So that's giving them some pressure to comply to the resolution. And so that is the power
Andy, I'm
of
just going to ask a question to make sure that we're on the right slide. Are we on the database of untrustworthy?
No. Two more. Next two. It's called a benefit of using blockchain.
There we go.
Okay. So this is what do we use the blockchain for, and so that we can make sure that people know whatever they have talked, whatever they have been agreed, whatever they have promised will be record, and cannot be override, time stamped, and also transparent. So that's we try to use, because one of the major problem we have, we currently failed in order to make ODR as powerful as a legal procedure is how to enforce the resolution. And we start to realize the enforcement of resolution is really up to the human, to the dispute parties. I mean, why they want to honor something that may hurt their interest. And one of the things is that their credibility. And another thing is that their, like their reputation. So we try to somehow use these things to softly bind the resolution, so that the people, will honor resolution. And then we start to see in the court the same. When court make a decision, if it's a civil decision, there is no any sentence. And people it's still a reputation credit binding. So if they don't want to fulfill their obligation, then they can hide, they can go somewhere. So same. So that's why we felt if we can build this credit and honor-based, reputation-based enforcement system, and because if we can make this whole thing very publicized, and also everybody can see how your party's honor system credit point. That way, we can actually make this system to be a very powerful enforcement for the resolution. So, so final page, we writing, not the final page, so next page. The rating system on blockchain, that means we rate everybody. We rate the disputed party. We rate the AI mediator. We rate the judge who want to override the AI mediator. We rate everything. We rate the system. We rate the chat room. We rate everything. So this rating is going to be kept in our blockchain database. That means anybody can raise that. So that gives us a base in the future to predict what kind of behavior or what kind of consequence or what kind of results can come up with the dispute resolution. Next page. And so this talk about how we record this everything in the blockchain. So next page, summary. So now we are at almost the final page, summary. Amanda, are you in the last page?
It says summary.
Yeah, summary. That's right.
ODR.
That's right.
ADR online.
Yeah. So the current ODR is actually ADR online. So I said that people are not very, not everybody agreed. So I think the current ODR is actually ADR online, because it's just basically use the same procedure, same process, same guideline to do the dispute resolution. The only thing is they add use computer, they use internet, they use mobile. So I think it's an ADR online. So the future ODR, that means the real ODR is AI mediated online dispute resolution. That means if it's not AI mediated, then I think it's just the traditional, the alternative dispute resolution. And we can use online mode or not online mode. But once it's AI mediated, that means this is not ADR. Because in the past, people think ODR is part of ADR. I want to say, I want to define a new ODR that is AI-based, AI-mediated online dispute resolution. So that is different from ADR. And also the mediator will train their own AI mediation unit to stay in business. Algorithm is the winner. So that means, as I said, in the future, how the mediator going to make money if everything is online? There's no any room for mediator to be in the dispute resolution. What they can do is they can build their own AI mediation unit. As I just we demonstrated, we have these six very experienced mediator. So they start to train their AI mediator, and so it can plug into our AI driven online dispute resolution system. So that means I will argue in the future, certain percentage of mediator will be phased out by AI mediator, unless they go to train their own AI mediator so that they can plug into the system. And again, the lawyer, I just say AI plus lawyer. And if you remember that page, lawyer I think we're also certain percentage of lawyer. If they don't do anything, they will be phased out unless they start to train their own AI legal analytical units so they can plug into our system so that they can stay in business because they own that system. They own that module. So just like these 6 AI mediator we currently built, they are owned by these 6 human mediators because they train them. They tweak their parameters. They set their some of their weight. So they are training them. And for the lawyers, Sophie is really a competitor, and because I think Sophie knows everything, and so they have to be very careful. And then next page is technology infrastructure. So what are we going to use to build the what we have been used to build our AI-driven ODR? Number 1 is the blockchain technology for the data management. Number 2 is the deep learning for training AI. So we have built this system so the mediator can train their AI mediator to use in our system. And the most important thing is this AI mediator can self-learning. They are self-evolving. After the human only set some parameters, pick some of the weight, and the machine can keep learning. The 24 hours learning. And the number 3 technology infrastructure is big data for analytic advisory. So that this technology, it's a very, very common technology. Now it's very mature. And number 4 is very important. The social credit system for enforcement. And we start to realize we can use blockchain to build a reputation-based, or we can call it social credit-based system to enforce the resolution. And the results is even better than what court, how the court enforcement. Because unless this is a criminal get into a criminal situation, and I think everybody is really, they honor their words based on their reputation, how much they care about the reputation. So the outside force cannot really make them become a very honorable person. So that's it. And thank you very much for this session. And so if you have any question, please ask. And if you like this PPT, and I think Amanda can send it to whoever wants this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andy. Absolutely, I can potentially have Colin posted along with the recording of the video of the session after. So if people want that, we can post it there. So I have lots of questions, but I, of course, know how to get in touch with Andy to be able to ask them in my own time. So I'd like to invite others. Is there anybody that has any questions that they'd like to ask?
This is Tina Jones. I would like to find out, until AI technology really catches on, is there anything that can be done in terms of training mediators to be better at doing their job in terms of providing a very more sound and more logic thinking process in terms of helping to resolve cases? And also would love a copy of the PowerPoint presentation. And great job, thank you.
Okay, that's a very good question. And we, in fact, because what we are saying is people think it's kind of like many years away, and because of the current legal system and the current, tradition. So they don't say the AI can be immediately replace the human. So in that aspect, and we did think about how we use AI technology to help our human mediator. And what we are doing, we currently working on that project with China, some of the one of the state province level courts. And we are building something we call the mediator, computer-aided mediation. That means it's a mobile app, and once the mediator input the dispute form that we get from the submission, and they were give some strategy advisory to the mediators based on the all those learning we got from the billions of cases. And we provided some legal-based analysis and culture-based analysis, region-based analysis, and even local tradition-based analysis. So we give some suggestion. And also, if the mediator can consistently interaction with this APP, we will consistently provide them some of the advice more from this four aspect. And the most important thing this APP provide is to tell you how they are going. And if you can input enough information, we will tell you their probability of reach a resolution is going up or going down. So we will tell you this whole thing is out of control, or this whole thing is going towards a resolution. So that is something we are currently building. Again, it's based on our existing system, building with one of the province and court. We will see how it works.
Thank you. Because I
Sure.
was thinking about a human mediator and AI partnership to provide a better service to the customer, to the client. Yeah,
that's the difference is that who is the one input, like in this whole process? It's a human, and human is the one typing things, or it's a computer. That computer is not typing. Computer is collected in the system. They automatically generate the words. So that is actually very different. And our system is a computer. Even though there are human, is guiding, is basically treating or consistently maintaining this AI module. But in the real dispute session, computer is the one generate all those communication. And the other one, the one we are currently working with at province level court, is a human is really engaged in this the whole mediation process. Computer is the one human has on the hand to once in a while take a look to see how the computer advise. So there are two partnerships. They are partnership, but depends on who is in the process. And if it's computer in the process, we call the AI driven. If it's human in the process, we call the computer aided.
Thank you for that, Andy.
Thank you.
Sure.
We have a question in the chat box from Mike that says, do you envision being able to provide an AI mediation for the APEC collaborative framework that focuses on business-to-business cross-border disputes?
Yeah, in the last year in Osaka, I think it's Osaka meeting, APEC meeting, we talked briefly about the business-to-business dispute. That is a little tricky than what we are doing, because we are doing more consumer. And now we get into the trademark is, again, we modeled from our consumer dispute whole procedure. Because for the business-to-business, we failed. They are more legal mind and not very much. Okay, let me tell you the bottom line of our consumer to consumer. Consumer to consumer is if we make the party happy with the resolution. So we have this we call the satisfaction index. This combined satisfaction index get to the optimal point. Then that is where resolution will generate. But for the business to business, that's not the case. Business to business, both parties are not really the one making decision. They have to go back to their, or maybe they have a legal counsel, or they have some legal department to decide whether this is a resolution they can take. So I cannot get an instant measurement of the satisfaction index of both parties, so that we can dynamically guide our mediation. So that's a very tricky part. And we currently work on the trademark try to see if we can slowly understand how this corporate decision is generated based on our chat room results. So that is something we want to work with APAC to develop, but so far we are still in the process of research.
Great. That's I find that fascinating. Are there any other questions that anybody would like to raise? I have one that I'm curious about.
Okay,
while people
sure.
are thinking. From a transparency perspective, how aware are the participants that they're engaging with an AI instead of an online mediator when they're in those chat rooms?
Yeah, that's in fact currently China try to push a law, and which we are a little kind of concerned. They want to identify who is the mediator, because for us we did the human AI mediator sort of like a dynamic change to try to see whether people can feel it, can detect. That's why I get you at the very beginning. I talk about the disputed parties start to feel the mediator is on human behavior, because they start to ask, oh, do you have a daughter, or do you have what do you eat for tonight? Something like this kind of question. The machine is always pulling back to whatever they discussed. But some mediators, they like to chat with both parties and to make them feel easy. But there are some mediators, they don't like to talk about that. They want to get back to the business. So that is there are some unhuman behavior of the AI mediator, and our conclusions, they don't affect the results, and also they don't affect the fairness of the discussion, and we don't want to distinguish human and the AI mediator, because in the future our vision is that every mediator has their AI partner. So when they have time, they probably want to jump in to do their own mediation. When they don't have time, they use their AI mediators. And we don't want to distinguish, but I think somehow China, the Supreme Court is talking about a requirement for the court, basically for the court, and to identify whether mediator is a human or it's a machine.
I find it fascinating if the dynamics and satisfaction things would be different if it's identified versus not identified, and how people feel about the concept of AI mediation versus in-person mediation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. So far we are observing that, and we don't have a very solid results out of that yet.
So we're at about an hour and 15 minutes. And,
okay.
And I'm just curious if there's any kind of last questions that everybody has, and then it might be time to say thank you to Andy and wrap it up. So does anybody want to pop in for one more question?
Hi, Tina. This is Mike Dennis. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Mike.
Yeah.
Hi, Mike.
Andy, thanks so much.
Hi, Mike.
Thanks so much for your spectacular presentation.
Thank you very much, Mike.
It's just
I'm sorry, I can't hear for some weird reason. Can everyone hear?
Yes.
Yeah. Mike.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes.
Andy, I was wondering if you could address a B2B in a little bit more detail as far as what type of data you would need. Can you, for example, with respect to a cross-border business-to-business, what would you need to have, be able to develop an AI mediator for something like that? Thanks again for just the excellent presentation.
Thank you very much, Mike. I really appreciate all your support, and I really appreciate the time we had in the Osaka meeting. So one of the major problems is for the B2B cross-border dispute is lack of data. And currently we collect from the trademark dispute and from the European Union to China, and we got about 5,700 cases, and we look at those data and they're very unorganized and very unstructured, and it's difficult to use to train the AI mediator. The reason why the cross-border e-commerce, like the retail data, is easy because they're all generated by computer, and we can easily dump them into a database and then start to train a mediator. But for the B2B data, they are very very unorganized, and it's not easy to use. So we start to try to now we are talking to UPO and also the China CTA, China Trademark Association, to ask them to build a dispute submission system first, so that we can organize those data, and so that we can later on use to train the mediator. But I think they are still in the talking session, and also the business are very different. Business dispute, unless like for trademark is a little bit better, because trademark is a very defined topic, and it's quite easy to describe trademark. But for other kind of like business to business disputes, such as a contract dispute, such as the trade dispute, it's very difficult to parameterize those disputes. So we are foreseeing some difficulty to move AI very quickly into B2B area. But I think eventually, if we can have a better infrastructure to generate better data from B2B dispute, then I think this is going to be very helpful.
Thanks so much. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for being here. I'd like to say a big thank you to Andy. It is very early in Beijing, so he joined us extra bright and early just to be here for all of you. And I found the presentation fascinating, and I just want to say, Andy, do you have any last words for us before? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Amanda, and thank you, Dennis, and everyone. And I think our work needs more your support and the encouragement. And currently, and also I don't like to be very limited to working with the China organization or institute. We want to really move, because we don't really see a much difference between what we are doing here, or if we can do in Japan or in Thailand. So because the computer, like the deep learning system, big data, all those things are really invented in the United States. And when we are programming those things, we don't really see they are very cultural based. So, but the training part, the mediator training part, is very, very character based. And so that's why I encourage all the mediators should learn AI as soon as possible, because I think even they cannot be replaced, at least they can be helped by AI, by their AI partners. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andy. And just as a note, I have the presentation. I'll be forwarding it to Colin, and potentially he can add it to the event page. So if you want to see a copy of the slides or to have a copy of the slides, we'll see if we can post them there for everybody. So thank you so much for joining us, and I hope everybody has a great rest of their day.
Thank you so much. Okay, and I definitely appreciate a copy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.